You know that notification, the one from your banking app or your investing app that says, you haven't contributed this month, and you swipe it away. Not because you don't care, but because right now doesn't feel like the right time. Maybe rent just hit. Maybe you're waiting for a raise. Maybe you just think, I'll start next month when things are calmer. And here's the strange part. Nothing bad happens when you swipe it away. No alarm goes off. No bill shows up. Your bank account looks exactly the same tomorrow as it did today. So it doesn't feel like procrastination is costing you anything. But that feeling is the trap. Because unlike debt, which sends you angry letters and interest charges, procrastination is silent. It doesn't announce itself. It just quietly takes years from your future without ever showing up on a statement. So today, I want to show you the actual dollar cost of waiting 5 years to start. Not a vague warning. The real maths. My name is Davis. If you've been meaning to start saving or investing for longer than you'd like to admit, hit subscribe, because today we're going to make that invisible cost visible. Here's what most people don't realize. Procrastination doesn't feel expensive because the cost isn't in the present. It's in the future you haven't met yet. If waiting 5 years to invest cost you money today, out of your current account, right now, you'd never do it. You'd feel it immediately. But that's not how this works. The cost is quietly assigned to a future version of you, one who won't find out about it for decades. And by the time that version of you does find out, the 5 years are already gone. You can't buy them back at any price. That's what makes delay so dangerous. It's not that the decision is hard. It's that the consequence is invisible until it's permanent. Let's do the actual math. The 5-year delay. Imagine two people. Both are 27. Both plan to invest $300 a month into a diversified index fund, earning an average 7% annual return, which is a reasonable long-term estimate after inflation. Person 1 starts today. Person 2 waits 5 years, then starts the exact same plan, same amount, same fund, same return. Person 1 invests $300 a month for 35 years, from age 27 to 62, at 7% annual growth. That ends up around $511,000. Person 2 invests the same $300 a month, but only for 30 years, from age 32 to 62. That ends up around $340,000. Same monthly amount, same return, same discipline. The only difference is a 5-year head start. And that 5-year head start is worth roughly $171,000. Read that again. 5 years of waiting costs more than the entire decade of contributions that follows it. That's the part nobody explains when they say procrastination is normal. It is normal. It's also brutally expensive. And the wildest part, person 2 didn't do anything wrong during those 5 years. They didn't overspend. They didn't make bad investments. They just waited. Waiting was the entire cost. Layer 2, the identity cost. Money isn't the only thing you lose when you delay. You also lose years of practice at being someone who follows through. Every month you don't contribute is a month you don't build the habit, the muscle memory, the confidence that comes from watching a small plan actually work. And that matters more than people think, because the version of you who starts at 27 spends the next 5 years learning how markets move, how to sit through a downturn without panicking, how to automate contributions without thinking about it. By 32, that person isn't just 5 years of money ahead. They're 5 years of experience ahead. Meanwhile, the version of you who waits until 32 to start is standing exactly where the other person stood 5 years earlier, still learning the basics, still building the habit from zero. Time doesn't just compound money. It compounds skill. Layer 3, the trap that keeps the delay going. Here's the uncomfortable part. I'll start when things settle down, almost never resolves itself, because things rarely settle down in the way you're picturing. There's always a next expense, a next transition, a next reason this particular month isn't the right one. Behavioral economists call this present bias, the tendency to weigh immediate comfort far more heavily than future consequences, even when we know, logically, the future consequence is larger. It's the same reason people delay medical checkups, gym memberships, and difficult conversations. The discomfort of starting is immediate and specific. The cost of waiting is distant and vague. Your brain will always pick the smaller, closer discomfort over the larger, further one, unless you interrupt that pattern on purpose. Let me tell you about two people, Alex and Sam, both 26. Both earn similar incomes. Both intend to start investing. Alex opens an account that same month and sets up an automatic transfer of $250, even though it feels like an inconvenient amount at the time. Sam agrees it's a good idea, but decides to wait until after a big work project, then after a move, then after paying off a smaller debt, then after the holidays. Reasonable reasons every time. 2 years pass. Alex hasn't thought much about it. The transfer just happens. Sam still means to start. Another year passes. Alex's account has grown, not dramatically, but steadily, and Alex has gotten used to not touching it. Sam finally opens an account 5 years after Alex did, and starts contributing the same $250 a month. On paper, both are now investors. But Alex is 5 years into the habit, 5 years into the compounding, and 5 years calmer about market dips because Alex has already lived through a couple of them. Sam is starting exactly where Alex started, except 5 years later in life, with 5 fewer years for the money to grow before retirement. Same intention, same amount, completely different position. So why does this keep happening, even to people who genuinely intend to start? Because waiting for the perfect moment is really just present bias wearing a responsible-sounding disguise. I'll start when I have more saved up sounds sensible. I'll start when work calms down sounds sensible. But notice, these conditions are rarely fully met, and even when one clears, another usually appears. The plan was never actually start when conditions are perfect. The plan, unintentionally, becomes start never, dressed up as start eventually. So here's what I actually do with this. First, start with an amount that feels almost embarrassingly small. Not because small amounts don't matter, but because I'll start big is often just procrastination in disguise. $20 a month started today beats $300 a month started in 3 years. Second, automate it before you feel ready. Don't wait until you feel confident about investing. Set up the transfer, then learn as you go. Confidence comes from doing it, not before it. Third, remove the monthly decision entirely. If you have to consciously choose to invest every single month, some months you'll choose not to. Automatic transfers remove that decision point completely. Fourth, treat. I'll start when I earn more money as a warning sign, not a plan. If you catch yourself attaching your start date to a future condition, that's usually present bias talking. Ask yourself honestly whether that condition will actually be fully resolved or whether another one will simply replace it. Fifth, calculate your own 5-year number. Take whatever amount you're planning to invest monthly. Run it through a compound growth calculator twice, one starting today, one starting in 5 years, and look at the difference. Make the invisible cost visible to yourself, the same way we just did here. Here's the identity shift I want you to leave with. It's easy to look at 5 years of delay and think, I'm behind. But behind isn't really the right word, because behind implies there's a fixed finish line everyone else is racing toward. There isn't. There's just your timeline, and every day you wait genuinely does cost something specific and calculable. But every day you start also genuinely begins building something. The old saying is true here in the most literal, mathematical way possible. The best time to start was 5 years ago. The second best time is today. Not because today is magical, but because today is the earliest point you actually have control over. Waiting doesn't feel like it's costing you anything, because the cost is quiet and it's assigned to a future you haven't met yet. But you've now met the number. 5 years of delay on a simple $200 plan can cost more than $100,000 by the time you retire. That's not a scare tactic. That's just what compounding does with time. And time is the one input you can never add back later. So if this made that invisible cost feel a little more real, hit subscribe, because on this channel, we don't do guilt trips, we do the math. And I want to know, honestly, in the comments, how long have you been meaning to start?